It is a night that could shift the balance of power nationwide and across our state. Welcome to Election Night. I'm Chad Silber.
And I'm Julie Luck. Nearly 500 seats in the United States Congress up for grabs. Another 170 seats in our state legislature, not to mention sheriff's races, school boards, and more.
It has been a busy night, but the voting started weeks ago. Ballots cast today are tacked on to the more than 2 million cast during early voting.
The polls closed at 7:30 tonight. Let's get a look at the results in our area's biggest races. Without a doubt, the biggest race is for a spot in the U.S. Senate. Right now, Republican Congressman Ted Budd leads Democrat Cheri Beasley 51% to 47% of the vote. Budd is a Winston-Salem native. He's been a U.S. Congressman for the last 6 years, representing parts of the Piedmont Triad.
There are 14 U.S. House races in our state tonight. District 6 covers Greensboro, High Point, Winston-Salem, as well as Rockingham and Caswell counties. Right now, Democrat Kathy Manning has 54% of the vote over Republican challenger Christian Castelli, who has 45%. This would be Manning's second term in the U.S. House.
Guilford County is among several areas with a sheriff's race. Sheriff Danny Rogers looking to secure a second term. Right now, he is in the lead, 56% to 44% of Phil Byrd. Rogers first won his spot as sheriff back in 2018 after he defeated longtime Guilford County Sheriff B.J. Barnes.
And we have our team spread out across the Triad and the state tonight. We have been right there with the candidates as the results have been coming in. Race results are scrolling at the bottom of your screen. You can also get them right on your phone. Just text the word results to 336-379-5775. We will send a link to our comprehensive coverage.
Let's go now to the election watch parties across our state, starting with the U.S. Senate race. Republican Ted Budd looking to change chambers after 6 years in the U.S. House.
WFMY News 2's Grace Holland is live at his watch party in Winston-Salem tonight. Grace.
It's fitting, isn't it, that we would have a long night to end what has been a very long and contentious Senate race here in North Carolina, and that we really aren't over with this yet at this point. It is still a waiting game to find out who is going to take that Senate seat. Of course, Congressman Ted Budd is still up at this point, and right now you can see there is quite a crowd gathered here at the Marriott Hotel in Winston-Salem. We are expecting that we will be hearing from Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson and Senator Thom Tillis once there is this race being called. And of course, the Republicans have really hoped to hold on to this seat that has previously been held by Republican Richard Burr for many, many years. This is a seat that they hope will help them to continue to be a check on Democrats in Congress and Democratic President Joe Biden. Budd, of course, is a three-time representative. He was first elected in 2016 to Congress, and he's hoping to give up that seat in exchange to move to the higher office of Senate. And we are still waiting to find out that result, and we will bring it to you live once we have it.
All right, Grace, keep us posted. Let's check in with Congressman Budd's opponent, Democrat Cheri Beasley. Her watch party is in Raleigh tonight.
And that's where we find WFMY News 2's Kevin Kennedy. He's been at that location all night long. Kevin, what's the mood like right now?
Well, it's kind of a hurry up and wait type of a feeling here. Doors opened here at the Sheraton in downtown Raleigh about 7 o'clock, and a number of folks have gathered, and they've been gathering here. 4 hours later, though, at this point, we still don't know what's going to take place. Cheri Beasley obviously optimistic, hopeful that she will be come out the winner, but at this point, obviously, things are not looking as good as they did earlier on when the results initially started to trickle in. As Grace was mentioning, though, this has been a long and a drawn out and a very contentious campaign. 19 months ago, Cheri Beasley announced that she would be running for this North Carolina Senate seat, and here we are now. So what's an extra hour or two to find out if she can, in fact, certainly pull this this defeat out and turn it into a victory, as it is starting to look like right now. Cheri Beasley expected at some point to take the stage here. She hopes it will be an acceptance speech. At this point, though, we're not really sure when that will happen and what will happen. We'll continue to monitor, and we'll bring you the latest when that develops. For now, though, I'll toss it back to you guys in the studio. Kevin Kennedy, WFMY News 2.
All right, Kevin, thanks. We do want to get a closer look at how we got here. Which areas voted for which candidate? 2
Know's Ben Briscoe joins us live now with a closer insight.
Right now, we're really trying to see if that deficit for Sherry Beasley is just too much to overcome. As the night gets closer and closer towards a finale, it appears like it might be, but I do need to show you some stuff on the map. Right now, she is behind 143,000 votes. But there's still a whole lot of votes left in the state to come in. Not a lot of precincts, but a lot of votes. Because if you take a look, the big cities, Wake County, really having a problem getting their votes in right now. If you take a look at that, only 137 of 208 precincts have been reported right now in Wake County. You can see she's doing really well in that area of what's been reported so far, taking more than 60% of the votes there. But there's still about 250, 300,000 estimated votes out just in Wake County. When you look statewide, that is more than what she needs, but the question is, will she get all of those? Probably not all of those, but will it be enough? Also, the big question, what is going on with Wake County? Well, they just tweeted a second ago that they actually have all but 3 of these precincts into the state now, and that the state is inputting them at this very moment. We should know a lot more soon.
So even more votes still coming in. Ben, thank you so much. We move now to the other chamber in the U.S. Congress, the House. All 435 seats up for grabs tonight. 14 of them are in our state.
Now, District 6 is one of them. It covers part of our area. Here are those results again. Incumbent Kathy Manning has 54% of the vote to the 45% for Christian Castelli.
WFMY News 2's Lauren Coleman is at Kathy Manning's watch party tonight in downtown Greensboro. Lauren, Manning declared victory moments ago, but that race still is not called.
Yes, race still not called, but it's been an eventful night here at Elm and Bain in downtown Greensboro. Supporters cheered and applauded as Representative Kathy Manning took to the podium to react to a re-election in North Carolina's 6th congressional district. She took to the podium about 25 minutes ago. This is what she had to say about what she plans to do next.
So I promise you, I will keep the interests of the people all across the 6th district as my top priority, as well as the interests of the people all across this country. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for giving me the extraordinary privilege and opportunity to keep working for all of you and for the future of our country. Thank you so much.
Once again, the race not officially called yet, but it looks like Kathy Manning will be taking home the W tonight. We'll be keeping a close eye on what she does next. For now, reporting live in downtown Greensboro, Lauren Coleman, WFMY News 2.
Lauren, thanks. Let's move now to Congresswoman Manning's opponent, Republican Christian Castelli. The Army Vets Watch Party is in Greensboro tonight.
WFMY News 2's Avery Powell joins us live there right now. Avery, how's the mood there right now?
Well, Rody's Tavern here in Greensboro is pretty much cleared out for the night. I did speak with candidate Christian Castelli about 30 minutes ago. He said he's cautiously optimistic he could still take the 6th district congressional seat from incumbent Kathy Manning. He stopped by this private watch party held by the Guilford County GOP at Rody's Tavern this evening to greet supporters. This is Castelli's first run for public office, but he served in the military for more than 20 years, retiring as a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army Special Forces. Castelli says his military experience has been helpful when running a campaign.
A lot of similarities with being in the military and running for office. The similarities are uncanny with the challenges you face as well as what you think you can bring to the table. You know, for me, it's about proactive, dynamic leadership. That's what I tried to bring in the military, and that's what I endeavor to bring in Congress if the numbers work out tonight.
Castelli says one of the biggest issues for him is the economy, something he says he wants to focus on if he's elected to Congress.
Avery, thank you. Outside of that District 6 race, Districts 4, 5, 8, and 9 also include parts of the Triad.
District 4 includes Alamance County and parts of the Triangle. Democrat Valerie Foushee wins this race with 67% of the vote. She will take over for longtime Congressman David Price, who announced his retirement last year.
Over to District 5 now, which includes parts of Forsyth County and the foothills. The incumbent, Republican Virginia Fox, will keep her seat. She beat Democrat Kyle Parrish with 63% of the vote. She's represented this area since 2005.
District 8 includes Davidson County. Republican incumbent Dan Bishop wins this one with 70% of the vote. Bishop was first elected to the U.S. House in 2018. Now District 9. It includes Randolph County. Right now, Republican incumbent Richard Hudson leads with 57% of the vote. All right, let's bring in 2 Once Know's Ben Briscoe again. Ben, what are the maps saying about the U.S. House races, especially this District 6 race?
So these are all new district lines this time around because the population grew, so they had to draw new districts. The question has been in District 6 if Kathy Manning could hold on to her district. Take a look. This was it last time around. She easily won 62% because it favored more of the Democratic-leaning areas. You can see Winston-Salem, you've got Guilford County, Greensboro, and High Point. But take a look at the district this time around. In the 2022 race, they took away part of Forsyth County and added Rockingham County and Caswell County. When you look over all of that, her lead much smaller this time around. She's at 53%. But I do want to show you, even in some of these more rural areas, she still picked up about 1/3 of the vote. So it did impact her, but it does appear that she will win District 6.
Ben, thank you. Let's focus in on some of our local races, starting with the sheriff's races. Guilford County Sheriff Danny Rogers is looking to secure a second term.
Yeah, right now, Rogers has 56% of the vote. His opponent, Republican Phil Byrd, with 44%. Rogers first won his seat in 2018, beating longtime Sheriff B.J. Barnes. So far, it appears voters have decided to let him keep his job.
WFMY News 2's Sydney Moore joins us live now in Greensboro tonight, where Sheriff Rogers is on track to win another term.
Oh yes, Julie and Chad. Well, it's been a busy and eventful night here at Cooper Ale House. Friends, family, and folks from his campaign are out here supporting them tonight, or him tonight. Now, Sheriff Rogers told me he spent his day talking to people in the community. Some of his key missions include reducing crime and officer attrition rates and continuing to gain trust from the community.
We look at our property crimes down past 6%. That comes with the fact of having people engaged with the sheriff's office and in the community, where they can trust the deputies, trust our law enforcement system with the sheriff's office. As the sheriff of Guilford County, I'm hoping and believing and praying that I've earned their vote.
And it looks like Roger is appearing to be winning this race. So, of course, we'll be able to see that soon. And he says it's been, over the years, it's been great serving the community, and he hopes to continue doing that by keeping his seat. Live in Guilford County, Sydney Moore, WFMY News 2.
Sydney, thank you. The Republican challenger in the Guilford County Sheriff's race is also in Greensboro tonight.
Yeah, Phil Byrd was hoping to make a change in the sheriff's office. WFMY News 2's Amber Lake joins us live from his watch party. Amber.
Yeah, Phil Byrd was in great spirits tonight despite the outcome from this race. He actually just walked up to me a moment ago and said they campaigned as hard as they could, but it's just one of those things. Now, dozens of people did come out here tonight for the watch party, hoping to see an upset. Byrd had been campaigning for about a year and a half ago, and it was the support that he had the entire time that got him to where he is today. As votes rolled in throughout the night, Rogers started off with a significant lead, but towards the end, that gap got a little bit smaller, but it wasn't enough for Byrd to snag that win. Byrd says he couldn't have gotten to where he is tonight without his supporters.
I've had great support across this county, from one side to the other. City of Greensboro, High Point, a lot of great support, and that's what it takes to run a campaign. And they've done a great job on pushing me forward, and so I appreciate all the effort and everything that they've done for me.
Now, Byrd said moving forward, he's hoping the sheriff's office can make the changes it needs in order to make the county better.
Amber, thank you. The other big sheriff's race is Forsyth County. Sheriff Bobby Kimbrough Jr. looking for a second term. Right now, he is winning big with 66% of the vote. WFMY News 2's Hunter Funk spoke with him earlier tonight.
Sheriff Bobby Kimbrough Jr. says the results just showed how much trust the people have had in him over the last 4 years. Now, looking at the future, Kimbrough wants to continue the growth and innovation. He says he wants the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office to connect the real-time intelligence security with Greensboro, Winston-Salem, and Kernersville police so the Triad can be a safer place.
What I say all the time is that someone breaking the law does not have a respect for jurisdiction. That people may live in Guilford and come to Forsyth. It may be vice versa. So imagine having a network that powerful where everything is intertwined, working together.
Sheriff Kimbrough says he's thankful to everyone in Forsyth County who gave him their vote. He says he promises to continue to find different ways to keep the community safe. And one of the last things that he promised and mentioned was when we're safer together, we're stronger together.
Hunter, thanks. Alamance, Rockingham, and Randolph counties also have sheriff races tonight. Let's take a look at those results. First up in Alamance County, longtime Sheriff Terry Johnson has 59% of the vote, far ahead of Democratic challenger Kelly White. He will likely serve another 4 years.
In Randolph County, Greg Siebel secures his second term with a huge win, 82% of the vote, beating Democratic challenger Sean Walker. Meantime, Sheriff Sam Page has served in Rockingham County for 24 years. He is on track for another term with 66% of the vote. Sheriff Page and one of his opponents spoke with us earlier tonight.
I couldn't do what I do without the many men and women that work in the jail, that work in the admin, that work in the road, detectives, everybody working together. That team, our team makes a difference, and it made a difference because we got our report card tonight and we got an A+.
You know, we had a great campaign team, and you know, a lot of people has left, but yet, you know, I have encouraged them that, you know, we got to keep on, you know, because at some point, you know, things will get put back in the right perspective for the better of Rockingham County.
All right, let's get a closer look at the race results in those other Triad district attorney races. Guilford County's DA ran uncontested. Avery Crump will serve another term. In Forsyth County, incumbent Republican Jim O'Neill faces Democrat Denise Hartsfield. This was neck and neck for a while, and it is still pretty close right now. O'Neill has 51% of the vote to 49% for Hartsfield.
WFMY News 2's Daniel Cruz joins us live now outside Denise Hartsfield's watch party. And Daniel, this is a close one.
Julie, it sure is, and Denise Hartsfield said tonight that she is not going to hang up her hat just yet on this race. She's going to wait and see what the numbers look like over the days to come. She did speak to her supporters just before they started to shut things down at her watch party just a few minutes ago, and she thanked everyone for their hard work throughout this campaign and said that it is not over yet. She did not concede to Jim O'Neill, who hopes to have his fourth term as the district attorney here in Forsyth County. He was appointed by Beverly Perdue, the former governor of North Carolina, in 2009 and ran his first race in 2010. And this race this year was the first time that there has been an opponent for Mr. O'Neill during his campaign seasons. Over the last 3 elections, he has ran unopposed. So Ms. Hartsfield this year is definitely giving him a very close race. We'll continue to follow these numbers over the next couple of days. In Winston-Salem tonight, Daniel Cruz, WFMY News 2.
Daniel, thank you. All 170 seats in our state legislature were on the ballot tonight. Some races went uncontested, others still too close to call.
Yeah, these races have a huge impact on our state's future. If Republicans pick up 3 seats in the House and 2 seats in the Senate, they will have enough votes to override a Governor Cooper veto. One of the races to flip to the Republicans is here in the Triad. District 63 covers a portion of Alamance County. You've probably seen the ads for this one all over the place.
Republican Stephen Ross leads Democrat Ricky Hurtado 51% to 49% of the vote. Ross is a Burlington native. He held the seat for 8 years but lost to Hurtado in 2020. The switch due in large part to new district maps. This year's boundaries favor Ross. If this result holds, he'll flip District 63 back to the Republicans.
Let's quickly run through some other General Assembly races in Guilford County. Republican John Hardister's race looked close for a minute, but he now leads with 56% of the vote.
Republican John Faircloth is in a close one. These two faced off in 2020 and Faircloth won handily. Faircloth has served 6 terms in the state house. And Gray is a Greensboro native and small business owner.
Randolph County has a new state house representative. Republican Brian Biggs leads with 79% of the vote. He would replace Republican incumbent Pat Hurley, who lost to Biggs in the May primary.
Over in the state Senate, Democrat Michael Garrett leads his race to represent Guilford County. Democrat Gladys Robinson is on track to return for a 7th term. In Forsyth County, Democrat Paul Lowe Jr. wins a 4th term.
All right, let's also update you on the state Supreme Court races. You heard a lot about these too. Seat 3 is between Democrat Lucy Inman and Republican Richard Dietz. Right now, Dietz leads with 53% of the vote. Seat 5 is Republican Trey Allen versus Democrat Sam Ervin. Allen leads with 53% of the vote as well. Now, if these results stand, the state Supreme Court will flip to a Republican majority. Our election coverage does not end here. It's one thing to read the results, it's another to interpret what they mean.
A political science expert joins us live to discuss tonight's major races and how they could impact the balance of power nationwide and across our state. We'll be right back.
News 2 at 11 Weather Garden, sponsored by Flo Lexus of Winston-Salem and Flo Lexus of Greensboro. Experience amazing.
Follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road. Follow, 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 follow the yellow brick road.
Heart-pounding design, intelligent technology, courageous performance. Discover a new world of possibilities with a bold new take on the Lexus RX. Never lose your edge.
There was a time when the spirit of the season embraced us in its welcoming glow, when wondering eyes widened with enchantment, and with every tinkling bell, another cherished memory was made. There was a time that brought us closer to one another and to our better selves. It was a most wonderful time. It was Christmas, this Christmas, at Biltmore. When night falls, Biltmore glows.
It's become a problem for me because I'm embarrassed about it.
That's the case for men and women suffering from thinning hair caused by medical conditions and aging. But the medical professionals at QC Kinetics use natural, biologic, and laser light treatments to help thicken and restore hair with no invasive surgery.
What I'm seeing is growth where my hair was falling out. It's getting thicker. And now I'm really, really thrilled that I went to QC Kinetics.
Regain your hair and confidence. Schedule your free consultation today with QC Kinetics.
Turn hard-working days into happy nights. Our battery 8K homeowner system starts at just $199.99. Real steel. Find yours at over 10,000 local steel dealers.
Our midterm election coverage continues tonight on WFMY News 2. I'm Tanya Rivera, joined with UNCG political science professor Tom Little. We think you're one of us, right? Because you've been here for so long tonight. All right, so one of the big things that we're seeing is the shift of balance of power. We're seeing it happen nationwide. We're also looking at what is it doing here statewide. So how do you see that manifesting in North Carolina, and is it what we thought it might be?
Well, the big question in North Carolina was going to be, are there going to be enough change and turnover to give the Republicans a supermajority in the House and Senate? I did a quick count a few minutes ago. If my count is correct and the current balance holds, the Republicans did pick up enough in the Senate. They needed 30. If my count was correct, they got 30, just enough. In the House, I believe they fell 1 seat short. If the current numbers hold and my number was accurate, they got 71. They needed 72. They
so
fell
the
just one vote short.
supermajority does not look like it's happening here in North
Right, because you have to have in both chambers. You'd have to be able to override the veto in both chambers. So one chamber doesn't help you any.
Right. Okay. So it looks like the governor could still veto
Looks like, yeah, still could veto. Again, assuming the Democrats, and we talked a while ago, to override, all Republicans would have to hold together. Now he can't lose a single Democrat.
Okay. And quickly, let's talk about the U.S. Senate race. Changed as the night went on. Beasley was leading at the beginning, then Budd took the lead around 9:05. What happened there?
The early votes, and we knew that Democrats tend to be the ones to vote early, so that big chunk of votes at the beginning that had her up 60-40 was all early votes. Republicans tend to vote more on the day of the election, so as those numbers kept coming in, that's where the switch took place.
All right, we'll see what happens when they actually call that race.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be right back.
Happy Tales Veterinary Emergency Clinic is open nights, weekends, and holidays for all your pet's needs.
A new kind of superfood? Hardee's new Super Bacon Biscuit has twice the bacon and is available till noon on the weekends.
The universe provides.
Bite into the new Super Bacon Biscuit, only at Hardee's.
When you work for a plan as good as Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina, you kind of feel bad for the other guy.
Will your plans let me see a specialist without a referral?
You bet.
How about for lab work?
Double yes.
Could my family pay $0 per month?
Yes.
How about a wide choice of doctors and some free visits?
I really need to lower my costs.
We've got you covered for maternity care and zero copay for preventive care, virtual visits, and many prescriptions.
Really?
Yes.
Yes.
Remember to enroll by December 15th to start the new year with a Yes plan. Yes! Choose wisely. Choose blue. Call 1-888-790-7480 or visit shopforyes.com for free information. With a subsidy, you can pay as little as $0 a month.
Are you struggling getting in and out of your car? A mobility scooter or wheelchair accessible van from Ilderton Conversion allows you to ride or drive in comfort. With a wide selection to fit your needs and payments as low as $3.99 a month, Ilderton Conversion is your Brawnability dealer. Visit us at any one of our 5 locations in the Carolinas. Call us for your free in-home demonstration or go to 2easyvans.com. Ilderton Conversion, helping America regain their mobility and independence for over 50 years.
When moderate to severe ulcerative colitis persists, put it in check with Rinvoq, a once-daily pill.
When UC got unpredictable, I got rapid symptom relief with Rinvoq. Check.
When UC held me back, I got lasting steroid-free remission with Rinvoq. Check.
And when UC got the upper hand,
Rinvoq helped visibly repair the colon lining. Check. Rapid symptom relief, lasting steroid-free remission, and a chance to visibly repair the colon lining. Check, check, and check.
Rinvoq can lower your ability to fight infections, including TB, serious infections and blood clots, some fatal, cancers, including lymphoma and skin cancer, death, heart attack, stroke, and tears in the stomach or intestines occurred. People 50 and older with at least one heart disease risk factor have higher risks. Don't take if allergic to Rinvoq, as serious reactions can occur. Tell your doctor if you are or may become pregnant.
Put UC in check and keep it there with Rinvoq.
Ask your gastroenterologist about Rinvoq and learn how AbbVie could help you save.
Big news. We're all morning people now. Nope, you're not less lazy. Hardee's now serves super sausage biscuits anytime before noon on weekends.
What?
Again?
Bite into the new, meaty Super Sausage Biscuit, only at Hardee's.
We are still waiting on the results from tonight's biggest race.
Yes, everyone is on pins and needles about the U.S. Senate race. Ben Briscoe joins us live now with some more insight.
So you might be wondering why they haven't called this thing yet. I mean, take a look, 99% of the precincts reporting, and Sherry Beasley is down 137,000 votes behind Ted Budd. But I will tell you, that number is actually getting smaller as the night goes on. Just about a minute ago, it was 143,000. Here is why they are holding off and being a little cautious, is because where those votes are still out. We are missing some precincts in Raleigh. They just had a big dump though, so there are 205 of 208 precincts now reporting. This happened just within the last maybe 10-15 seconds, so let's take a look at what that means for them. Beasley took 61.9% of those, Ted Budd 35.7% of those. It does not look like she's going to get enough votes there to make up for that deficit that she has. But we still do have 3 precincts left. It depends on where in Wake County those precincts are from. I would expect that they are going to call this race pretty soon. We'll be here when they do.
Oh, woohoo! Ooh.
Right now, you can enjoy a savory sausage McMuffin with egg for only $2.50.
When your back pain is your foot's fault. This is Dean's story.
I had back pain, and I honestly didn't know where to go.
Until a friend suggested the Good Feet store.
She had to explain to me the feet are connected to the back.
And get this.
As soon as I put on those Good Feet arch supports, the pressure lifted off my back. It's like finding that missing puzzle piece. Like, yes, this is it.
Stop by for your free fitting at the Good Feet store.
Buying a used Jeep can sometimes be a scary proposition. First thing you must do is find one that's been properly maintained and reconditioned. That's where 31dodge.tv has you covered.
31dodge.tv, largest used Jeep inventory in the area, with one of the largest Jeep reconditioning centers in the Southeast. You can buy from anywhere with confidence. Home, office, car, the gym, in person.
31dodge.tv, the best Jeep at the best price. If you like easy, click 31dodge.tv or call 888-31-DODGE.
This is how it feels to live purposefully, to live gracefully. When you have a health partner who doesn't just treat part of you, they care for all of you. That's why more people prefer Atrium Health, because unrivaled care is easier, more accessible, and more complete than ever before. Because the only way to be your best self is with your best health. That's what it means to live meaningfully, to live joyfully, to live fully.
I'd like to thank our sponsor, Liberty Mutual. They customize your car insurance so you only pay for what you need. Contestants ready? Go! Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
T-Mobile covers 99% of people in America. So when we say we have your town covered, we mean it.
I'm able to go to any of the small towns and still pick up great service.
And great coverage is just the beginning. Families and small businesses can save up to $900 versus Verizon.
We actually save way more now than we did with our old carrier.
The amount of money you save with T-Mobile, it's just awesome.
Plus, with our T-Mobile Price Lock, we guarantee we won't raise the price of your rate plan. Switch today.
Oh, woohoo! Ooh.
Right now, you can enjoy a savory sausage McMuffin with egg for only $2.50.
It's the race we are all keeping our eye on right now. The race for U.S. Senate to fill Richard Burr's seat. Right now, 51% of the vote going to Ted Budd, 47% going to Sherry Beasley. And you'll see up on the left-hand corner, 99% of precincts are reporting.
Let's check now on Ted Budd's watch party in Winston-Salem, and that is where we find WFMY News 2's Grace Holland. With the very latest, Grace, I understand somebody is speaking at the podium right now. Looks like there's a lot of activity. This is happening over at the Marriott Hotel in downtown Winston-Salem. This is like the moment we've been waiting for, because there's been a lot of back and forth of who is going to be winning this race. We have not heard any speeches yet, even any appearances by the candidates, just kind of rallying the crowd. So this is what we're waiting for. Maybe a concession speech, maybe a acceptance speech. We'll see.
Yeah, Kevin Kennedy is actually standing by at Sherry Beasley's watch party in Raleigh. What's the mood there, Kevin?
Yeah, guys, you got to mention it. It's a hurry up and wait type of a situation. The doors opened up here about 4 hours ago. It's now a little bit past 11, about 11:30 or so. There's still a pretty good sized crowd here, but obviously they've seen the results as they've kind of been coming in over the last 4 hours. So the optimism that kind of filled this room and the hope around 7:30 has certainly dwindled, but there are a number of people still here. We're still waiting to hear from Sherry Beasley. And at this race, or at this point in the race, look, it doesn't look good, but this race has yet to be called in regards to Ted Budd. So at this point, the folks here, they're still standing by. They're still encouraged or buoyed by the fact that until the clock sounds or the whistle blows at the end of the game, as they say in sports, it's not over until it's over. So at this point, it's kind of a wait and see type thing, not only in regards to the election itself, but also to find out when Cheri Beasley will take the stage and address her supporters one way or another. For now, though, we're live in downtown Raleigh. I'm Kevin Kennedy, WFMY News 2.
Okay, this just in, CBS News is now projecting that Ted Budd is the winner of North Carolina's U.S. Senate seat.
I know that this comes as a big sigh of relief for the Republican Party, considering Richard Burr has held this seat for so many years, and they were hopeful that it would not flip to a Democratic-controlled seat with Cheri Beasley. We've been checking in with both parties tonight. Obviously, we're going to be hearing a concession speech tonight. We'll also be hearing an acceptance speech, and we're just kind of standing by waiting for both of those to happen.
Right, a little bit more about Ted Budd. He's been a U.S. Congressman for 6 years now, looking to switch chambers. Again, CBS News projecting that Ted Budd is the winner with 51% of the vote. Cheri Beasley, 47%. This has been a very, very close race. You've been with us all night long watching the results come in. And like I said, projected winner is Ted Budd. Let's check in now with his watch party. That's where we find WFMY News 2's Grace Holland live in Winston-Salem.
A lot of excitement here in the last few minutes. It looks like we are getting ready to hear an announcement from people about this campaign here for Congressman Ted Budd. If we can, I want to pan over here. In the back of the room, there are actually several different political figures, most notably U.S. Senator Tom Tillis and Lieutenant Mark Robinson have entered the room. We were told earlier this evening that they would be speaking before Congressman Ted Budd, so it is likely that we are going to be hearing from all of them shortly. Now, of course, this race has not officially been called by AP or CBS News at this point. We are still waiting on that. It's unclear if the campaign is going to wait for that or not. And again, just a lot of cheers going up. We have heard chants for calling for Ted Budd. I'm just now hearing that CBS News has called the race for Ted Budd. So again, it does seem like Congressman Ted Budd is now going to become Senator-elect Ted Budd. We are waiting to hear from these different surrogates from the campaign to talk tonight, and we will bring you those updates as we get them.
Grace, thank you so much. She had been talking earlier in the night, too, about how we were also going to be hearing from Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson, from Senator Tom Tillis. So obviously the Republican Party getting all of their eggs in a...
Ducks in a row.
Ducks in a row. Thank you. Eggs in a basket. Choose whatever saying you wish. But I want to go now to Ben Briscoe, because, Ben, you've been watching this map kind of change shades all night. What's it showing now?
Okay, I want to show you where each candidate really had the stronghold. Cheri Beasley tonight easily took Orange County, Chapel Hill area, and Durham. Besides that, it was not a really strong showing for her anywhere in the state. She did well in the cities. Mecklenburg County, she took 65% of the vote, but going into that, political pundits really thought she'd have more like 70, maybe 75% of the vote in some of those big counties. When you look at Ted Budd, on the other hand, he did really well in areas like Randolph County, taking 78% of the vote. And for Forsyth County, he took 43% of the vote. So even in those areas that lean typically more liberal, he still took a big chunk of the vote. One other thing I want to show you here is that there was a whole lot less people that voted for this particular Senate seat than last time around. At total votes, we've had about 3.7 million, but check it out. 2016, when it was Burr against Deborah Ross, if you remember that race, there were 4.7 million. So about 1 million less people voted in this particular race than that. Of course, 2016 was that big blockbuster matchup against Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton.
Ben, thank you. We've also just learned the Associated Press is now calling the race for Kathy Manning. You remember we heard from her probably about an hour ago at this point. She gave an acceptance speech that she had won. We hadn't heard from one of our sources yet that they had called the race, but now the Associated Press is saying that Kathy Manning has in fact won her race.
Also, we had our reporter Avery Powell. He was with the Christian Castelli, the opponent's camp, and when we checked in with that live picture, the room had already cleared out, but they were saying that he was still optimistic, still waiting for the final results to come in. But as we said, the Associated Press is calling that race for Kathy Manning. Like we said earlier, CBS News projecting that Ted Budd is the winner. The mood now over to Raleigh. That is where we find WFMY News 2's Kevin Kennedy. He is there with the Sherry Beasley camp. Kevin, I understand that the mood probably has taken a turn since we last saw you.
Yeah, it's certainly not the results that Sherry Beasley or her camp or her supporters had hoped early on in the day, and certainly going back, 19 months when she started this campaign back in April of 2021. There was certainly a lot of optimism that things would turn out differently. As we started to move through the night, though, it started to kind of become clearer and clearer. And then certainly, as we just heard a short time ago, CBS News has actually declared or projected Ted Budd as the winner. Now, a number of people are still on hand out here, a lot of supporters for Beasley. Again, when you're in a campaign for 19 months, and this is kind of, it all culminates in one night. Look, win or lose, your supporters, at least a lot of them, are going to stick around. At some point, we do expect Sherry Beasley to take the stage and address the crowd. We would assume that at this point or sometime in the short time, she will be having a phone conversation with Ted Budd, and then after that, she will most likely take the stage here and address the crowd, her supporters that have been with her, like I said, going on 19 months. So we're going to go ahead. We'll stick around here. We'll kind of monitor the situation, and as soon as Sherry Beasley takes the stage, we'll go ahead and bring that to you live. For now, though, we're in downtown Raleigh. I'm Kevin Kennedy, WFMY News 2.
Kevin, thank you so much. Well, people are starting to take the stage at the Ted Budd camp that is in Winston-Salem tonight. We understand that Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson is speaking right now. Let's listen in.
Border that we need to close to stop that fentanyl and those gangs from pouring over. It was a referendum on this inflation that we desperately need to bring down, to bring relief to the people of North Carolina and this country. It's a referendum on crime, which we need to get back under control. And it is a referendum on decency in our education system. North Carolina gets it right, folks. We got it right, and we will continue to get it right, because here it is. In this state, we know what will make this state great. We know what will make this nation great. And we know how to fix the problems in Washington, D.C. And that starts by sending a man named Ted Budd to the Senate to reverse the trends of the Biden administration and once again make this nation proud and set her back on the right path. So I couldn't be prouder tonight of the people of this state. We got it right, and that is why I love North Carolina. God bless you all. We'll see you soon. Thank y'all.
You have been listening to Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson speaking ahead of Ted Budd. We can almost call him Senator-elect at this point. We're still waiting to hear from him, but I do want to bring in Ben Briscoe to give us some more insight on how this race played out. Ben.
Okay, it has been a wild 30 minutes, 42 minutes since we started this show, hasn't it? At the beginning, it was too close to call. Now they are confident that Ted Budd has won this election. Let me explain to you why that is. At 11 o'clock, we were still waiting on Wake County to come in. They had some problems with their results getting to the state and the state uploading them. So it was not clear if Sherry Beasley was going to be able to close the gap. We do know now that Wake County, we have 205 of 208 precincts in, so virtually all of them at this point, and that Sherry Beasley just did not have enough support in Wake County to make up that gap. She ended up taking about 62% of the vote there, but Ted Budd still had 36% of the vote, and it just was not enough when you look across the entire state to see how they were doing in this race. I do want to send it over now back to you guys because we have some other developments.
Ben, thank you. We talked about that there were going to be some speakers before Ted Budd was going to come out and make his acceptance speech. Let's listen in to Tom Tillis.
And truth is, he's a better shot than me. But the truth is, his dad's a better shot than him. But when I met him, I walked away thinking, this guy needs to be in public service someday. And I'm so glad he's done such a good job in Congress and built the resume that made him a winner in North Carolina. I guess my feelings should be hurt because he's carried the margins about twice what I've ever done. In fact, if you took both my elections and added them together, I think he beat me tonight. And why is that? Well, I think it goes back to something Bill Clinton said just a couple of days ago. He said to a crowd that Republicans want people to be miserable and angry. When I had a reporter ask me about that, I said, we don't want them to be miserable and angry. That's what they are today because of Biden's failed agenda and what Schumer and Pelosi have done to this country in 2 short years. Today, North Carolina spoke up and said, we don't want that. We want more Republicans in the State House. We want more Republicans in the Senate. We want control of the Supreme Court. We want the appellate judges down the line with conservative values to keep North Carolina on the track that Republicans put it on back in 2010. Now what we have to do is pray that we continue to see the results going across this country so that we not only have Ted Budd there, but we have 51 seats, and we're in striking distance. I'll be up late tonight because I'm watching Nevada and I'm watching Georgia. And I like what we're seeing. I believe we'll control the House. And then we're going to have to get up there, be reasonable, address the concerns of this nation, and try and heal it after almost 2 years of absolute devastation. When I saw that Biden was going to win and that the gavels were going to go in control of Schumer and Pelosi, I really had no earthly idea how bad things could get in 2 short years. But people are suffering, and we got to work very, very hard to heal this nation. And I believe that Ted Budd's going to be one of those people to do it. I want to thank you all for the work that you did to get Ted Budd over the finish line. I also want to thank his wife, who I think probably is the only person who's worked as hard as Ted Budd to get him over the finish line, Amy Kate, right? So I have to admit, when Richard Byrd said he was going to retire, I was a little bit disappointed. I don't necessarily want to be the senior senator. I guess I have to take that title. But Ted will learn very quickly that and 50 cents will get you a cup of coffee. He's going to be a force in the U.S. Senate. And I'm going to look forward to having him as a partner. So, folks, Ted in the room? He's coming. All right. Anybody know any good jokes? No. No, but I want to thank you. The next senator for the great state of North Carolina, my friend, Ted Budd.
My goodness. Well, thank you, North Carolina. All right. Great. Well, what an incredible and long night this has been, folks. All right. Senator Tillis, thank you for that great introduction and for everything that you have done for our state. I cannot wait to partner with you in the U.S. Senate and do great things for our state and for our country as well. All right, so let's give Senator Tillis a hand. Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson, your friendship and your support, it has meant the world to me. So thank you for everything that you've done for our movement. We thank you for being an authentic voice for the American dream and for our conservative values. So thank you. Chairman Michael Watley, folks, this man is the best state party chairman in our country. Your hard work and your commitment to our party has kept North Carolina red, and it has fueled the conservative victory that we see tonight. Folks, we are lucky to have him and here supporting all of us, and we appreciate you, Michael. Now, in the scriptures, the psalmist tells us, "Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. His steadfast love endures forever." In North Carolina, we certainly do give him thanks tonight, don't we? So I'm going to thank my wonderful wife, Amy Kate, for her love. For her love, for her encouragement, her patience, her road miles, her hard work, and for blessing us with our 3 wonderful kids, Joshua, Catherine, and Macy. I'm proud of you all, and I am eternally thankful that God has given me such an amazing family. And that includes you, Mom and Dad, and my brothers, in-laws, nephews, nieces, cousins, and extended family. I also want to thank my friends and my neighbors, especially those that we've known each other for a long, long time. I look around this room and I see so many familiar faces. We've always stood by each other, and I treasure those friendships. I want to thank my team and for all the work of our NC GOP volunteers and the Bud crew chiefs in all 100 counties, folks. You know, without your hard work, we definitely wouldn't be here tonight, so thank you. And I want to thank President Donald J. Trump. And I want to thank North Carolina's own Laura Trump and the entire Trump family for everything that they are doing to make our country great again. And I also want to take a moment and recognize my opponent, Justice Sherry Beasley. We spoke on the phone, and I want to thank her for her service to our state and for running a spirited race. And finally, I want to thank the people of North Carolina for delivering this victory tonight, folks. You know, as someone who was born and raised here in North Carolina, this state's part of me. It's in my bones, and I want to make the old North State that much better again. You know, our friends in the national media, they thought they had this state all figured out. They used terms to describe North Carolina this year as sleepy, quiet, under the radar, and that list goes on and on. Well, I tell you that this so-called sleepy race, I think we sounded a loud and clear message in Washington, D.C. tonight. And here's what you've told me. You've said you've had enough of policies that make your lives worse. And you're sick of paying too much at the grocery store and at the gas pump. You're tired of feeling unsafe when you walk the streets. You're tired of being attacked just because you want to know what your kids are being taught at school. You know, our motto here in this state, it's esse quam videre, to be rather than to seem. So here in North Carolina, we're not flashy, we're not loud. Folks, we just get the job done. And that job is important now more than ever. It's time now to put the brakes on the Biden agenda of reckless spending, overregulation, and higher taxes. It's time to fully support the men and women of law enforcement who keep us safe each and every day. We need to support our law enforcement, secure our border, finish the wall, and give our border agents every resource they need to stop the cartels and the criminals from poisoning our citizens and our youth with deadly fentanyl. You know, it's time we put our parents back in charge of their children's education, folks. How about that? Okay. So as your next U.S. Senator, I will support parents wanting to know what their children are being taught in school and have a choice of where those children are going to school. Right? So let me ask here tonight, how many veterans do we have in here tonight? Absolutely. Folks, I think from the bottom of our heart, we need to give them a big hand. It's time that we honor the service of our men and women in uniform by restoring American strength to the world stage. A strong America, it keeps our citizens safe and the world more peaceful. Friends, tonight's victory is a humbling moment for me. It's a tremendous privilege to be able to serve you, and serving others is what my family's always been about. You know, many of you have heard me mention my grandfather, who was born in 1890. He has a saying that's become our family mottos down through the years. It's very simple and it's very straightforward. It's just do what you say you're going to do. Well, folks, that's how I've operated throughout my life, and that's the kind of senator that I'm going to be for North Carolina. So I just want to thank you all and ask that God bless you all, and may God bless the United States of America.
You just listened to Ted Budd's acceptance speech. He is North Carolina's new senator-elect after defeating Sherry Beasley tonight in a close race. During his acceptance speech, he was thanking other politicians, his family, supporters, family, friends, neighbors, his team. He is a Winston-Salem native. He spent the last 6 years as a U.S. congressman. He is succeeding Richard Burr. Richard Burr did not run for re-election. He did say that he spoke with Sherry Beasley on the phone before giving tonight's acceptance speech. He also wanted to thank the people of North Carolina. Both the Associated Press and CBS are both projecting that Ted Budd is the winner of this U.S. Senate seat. He did say winning tonight was, quote, a humbling moment.
And no surprise here, he had the full force of the Republican Party behind him, both here locally at the state level, but also nationally. He mentioned former President Trump, who had endorsed him very early on during the primaries and then during the general election. Just a few days ago, he was touring much of the state with Senator Ted Cruz. So really some big Republican heavy hitters behind him. And Ben, I think it's important to note that, I mean, if we think about how it was back in 2 years ago when President Trump won the state, a very similar path that way.
Yeah, I want to show you that Ted Budd actually outperformed President Trump in our state last time around. You can see that he took 50.7% of the vote tonight. President Trump just took 50% of the vote against President Biden back in that last election. I do want to also point out, though, that in places where Trump has rallied a lot in North Carolina, Budd has done really well. Take Union County, for example. That's a spot where Trump went multiple times over the last 2 years. Budd took 63.4% of the vote in that county. Now, a second ago, you heard Ted Budd say that he plans to be the kind of senator who does what he says he's going to do. That's exactly what he did in this campaign. He said that he was going to rely on the Triad, his home base, to help get him across the finish line. Take a look. When we zoom in across the state to our area, that is a lot of red for him. You would expect that because those are rural parts of the state. But look at how heavy some of these are. In Davie County, where he lives on a farm with his wife, 73% of the vote went for Ted Budd in that area. Even in some of the more liberal places like Forsyth and Guilford County, take a look, it wasn't that strong. In fact, Forsyth County, it was really a lot closer. Beasley only taking 54% 4% of the vote in Forsyth County. So across the state tonight, when you look at the final totals here, Ted Budd takes 50.7% of the vote to become our next senator.
Ben, thank you. I think it was kind of surprising that this race wasn't one of the top 2 races in the country, right? We were talking about the race in Pennsylvania for a Senate seat there, the Senate seat in Georgia, but maybe this one was a close third.
Very much so, and this is one of those things we knew that all eyes would be on North Carolina, and case in point, here we are, it's almost midnight, and we were still waiting for CBS News or even the Associated Press to project a winner, and we are still waiting to hear from Sherry Beasley, who was the challenger. So we understand that she will be stepping up to the podium in a few moments, but this is the result of the U.S. Senate race here in North Carolina. 51% of the vote went to Ted Budd, 47% to Sherry Beasley.
And I think the political experts got it right. They were expecting that once the votes started coming out, the results started coming out, that Sherry Beasley would have a large lead because Democrats tend to vote more often in early voting than Republicans do, and that's exactly what happened. When the votes started coming out, we saw Sherry Beasley had a, 15% lead over Ted Budd when they started counting some of those early votes, and then throughout the night, Ted Budd's deficit was chipping away at Sherry Beasley's lead until they eventually flipped, and Ted Budd was able to be the eventual winner for about 4 percentage points above Sherry Beasley.
And you're talking about that kind of roller coaster ride, and that's exactly how this race played out tonight. Ben has been great explaining and showing us the board about specifically each particular county and where they stood and where the votes were coming in. And one of the deciding factors, or I should say, one of the things that we were all waiting on was Wake County, but there are many votes that we're just kind of waiting and seeing. So this is one of the reasons why we're kind of pressed into later in the night, because the votes continue to trickle in.
And maybe you're at the point now where you are just happy that the political ads are over. As you know, millions of dollars have gone into political ads, both attack ads but also supportive ads for both of the candidates and super PACs from outside those two parties. So the political ads are ending, but I think that was really the proof that this race was so important.
It is so true. I know that if you looked on social media, things like that, a lot of the people would be commenting, you saw a lot of people with their stickers that, I voted. Wonderful. Glad to see that so many people got out to vote, and even with early voting. But another thing, the top 2 things that I saw on social today were people saying that they voted, but the number 2 was, thank goodness all the political ads are going to be coming to an end for the time being.
Right, absolutely. All right, let's go back over to Ben Briscoe now for some more insight. Ben.
Right now, what I'm seeing on social media is a whole lot of people who are saying it's the third parties that messed this up for Sherry Beasley, taking votes away from her, allowing Ted Budd to win. I want to show you that's not quite the case. Let's take a look right here. Sherry Beasley ended up 134,000 votes behind Ted Budd tonight. But when you look at the third parties, we've got the Libertarian and the Green Party just picking up 50,000 and about 29,000 votes right there. So that is about less than half of what Sherry Beasley actually needed. Also, when you look at where they did well across the state, look, nothing. Third parties really did not register enough. Again, 70,000 votes is a lot of people, but in the grand scheme of things, when you're considering how many people we had vote in this election total, 3.7 million, it did not make that big of a deal.
Ben, thank you. And when I went and voted today, it was evident early that there were going to be more people voting this time than maybe in the midterm 4 years ago. Went to the polling place. They said that they had more people turn out than they were expecting. They actually ran out of I voted stickers and had to go to another precinct to get more. A really great story that I have to tell quickly. When I was in there voting, there was a young woman who was a couple people in front of me, and when the poll workers found out that it was her first time ever voting, they kind of made an announcement to everybody else was in there, and everybody gave her a round of applause. And it just really reminded me of the good part of why we vote. You know, oftentimes over the last couple of years, we have heard about voting and the negativity that surrounds it, but I think it's so important to remember the importance of why we do this and also the good things that come out of it.
You know, you're talking about that positivity and that goodness. When I voted today, I ran into one of my neighbors, and that it's kind of this, there's camaraderie there. Even though people might have some differences, you know, this is an opportunity to be able to get your voice heard, but also even if you do have different differences, you know, you are still neighbors, you are still friends, you can still be supportive of one another. And another thing I would like to add regarding the voting process today, I literally was in and out of my precinct in 5 minutes.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much to all the volunteers, all the people who were able to put these elections together, because think about with the early voting and the absentee and also all the different polling places, that is a tremendous amount of work that requires a tremendous amount of manpower, and a lot of people just giving their time and donating their time, volunteering. It does another positivity that comes out of Election Day.
And boy, do we appreciate it. The time now is 12:04. We have passed over the midnight mark, and we are still standing by waiting for to hear from Sherry Beasley in a concession speech. Let's go now to Kevin Kennedy, who has been at the Raleigh area where she has been expected to speak. Kevin, any update?
Yeah, we were told by her campaign about 2 to 4 minutes ago that she would be taking the stage in about 2 to 4 minutes. So certainly we're expecting her to take the stage at any moment now. It should have been a little bit ago, but obviously in light of everything that has taken place tonight, it's just kind of a thought that she would be able to take the stage. Certainly a lot going on in her situation over the past 24 hours. Coming into today, there was a lot of optimism, a lot of hope that she could win this election, and as we found out just a short time ago, Ted Budd has been declared the winner. We did hear Ted Budd talk a little bit ago. He mentioned that he has spoken with Sherry Beasley, so we at least know that that conversation has taken place. So now it's a matter of Sherry Beasley most likely just kind of gathering herself, talking over with her staff and her family and kind of her close friends and family before she decides to go ahead and come out and address the crowd. Again, we expect her to be out not too long ago. It's obviously taken just a little bit longer, but you got to remember, this is a lady who started this campaign 19 months ago. Long time, if you will, and for all of this to kind of culminate maybe about 30 or 45 minutes ago when Ted Budd was declared the winner, could certainly take a little bit of time to just kind of gather yourself before you want to come out and address your constituents and your supporters. This has been a long and a very contentious campaign. So it's just a matter of time where she probably just wants to gather herself before she comes out. But we are expecting her to take the stage here momentarily. We're going to go ahead and stick around. When she does do that, we will certainly go ahead and bring that to you live. For now, though, we'll toss it back to you in the studio. I'm Kevin Kennedy, WFMY News 2.
Hey, Kevin, thanks. Before you go, I do have a quick question for you. As you know, you have been to a lot of these campaign parties that some have ended in success and some have ended in failure. What's the mood been like throughout the night as you've seen some of these people come and go and just be there throughout the night as they continue to see these results come in and then obviously hear the news they didn't want to hear?
Yeah, certainly I think, Chad, there's a bit of frustration and certainly a bit of sorrow, or they're upset. I mean, I think there was optimism. I mean, they've been monitoring the polls, so they know that this was maybe going to be, if you want to call it that, a little bit of an upset or a little bit of a surprise if she would have been able to pull off the win tonight. That being said, though, there certainly was some optimism, always kind of polling within that kind of that percentage of error, what have you. So I think there was a bit of hope coming into tonight. Certainly they were optimistic early on when the polls initially kind of came out and she had a bit of a lead, but obviously those polling results can be a little bit skewed in regards to kind of when those ballots are coming in from, where they're coming in from, and then the early ballots, kind of like we've talked, those tend to lean on a Democratic side. So I think those early results, while optimistic, I think people kind of in the know were like, well, let's see what happens as the night moves on. The crowd, I guess, has certainly thinned. I mean, it was a large crowd, a pretty large crowd early on. That has certainly changed. But for her core supporters, for her friends, for her family and stuff like that, those people remain here. They remain strong. Now it's a matter of kind of hearing from them. Again, we've talked about this before. For about a year and a half, they've supported her. They've been with her. They've kind of rode this wave, if you will, especially her family and close friends. And if anything, now it's a night to kind of, I guess, hear from her. And she most likely, obviously, wants to thank them. I mean, this was not, a wide margin of victory. So she fought a good fight, and now it's an opportunity for her to kind of address those folks that have kind of supported her along the way.
Ben, and I just called you Ben. Kevin Kennedy, thank you so much. We'll check back in with you when Cheri Beasley does take the stand, take the podium. We appreciate your help. We've been checking in with Kevin all night long, and we've seen the ebbs and flows of the evening.
And so this race, as you have heard us talk about for the past couple of weeks, has been such a big deal on the national level because of the balance of power and just how fragile it is right now. I do want to bring Ben Briscoe back into this conversation because I think it's important to talk about where we are right now with this balance of power, Ben.
Yeah, so with Ted Budd officially winning our Senate race here, according to all the projections, the balance of power in the Senate is still considered a toss-up right now, according to CBS News. There is a very tight race going on in Pennsylvania and Georgia. Nevada polls closed just a little while ago. We're still waiting on results for that. So it will be a long night, maybe even tomorrow night, before we know who has control of the Senate. I do want to show you in the House, balance of power still is not decided there either. However, at this particular moment, CBS News does estimate that it leans Republican. That is not heavily Republican, leaning Republican. That has actually changed a little bit. And part of that is because some candidates are doing a little bit better than they were projected to do. Like right here in District 6, Kathy Manning did take that district, even though it was changed to include more rural areas. She was always expected to take it, but not quite by that much. So the projection's still coming in. It's still going to be a long, long night.
You are a political expert. You know the ins and outs of this. Explain to the folks the significance of this balance of power. You know what? I'm going to interrupt you because Cheri Beasley is taking the podium right now. Let's check in Raleigh.
A good evening. Thank you all so very much. Thank you for being here tonight, and thank you so much for being Team Beasley. I am so grateful that we have been on this journey together. And I want to start, hold on, y'all. This is the teleprompter. Not turned quite right. Okay. Hold on. Okay. I really do want to start with a word of thanks. Thank you to everyone who helped to get this campaign to the finish line. Thank you also very much, all the volunteers who knocked doors and the folks who made phone calls and drove people to the polls. I am so grateful, so grateful that I've met so many awesome folks along the way. And I give my deepest thanks to Team Beasley. I thank my husband, Kurt, whose partnership has been essential in this journey, and whose birthday we celebrate tonight. Happy birthday, Kurt. I love you dearly. And to our sons, Matthew and Thomas, who inspire me every single day. I could not have done it without the support of my men, and I love them so, so very much, and very, very thankful. A few minutes ago, I called Senator-elect Bud to congratulate him. And I offered him my support and encouraged him to stand in the tradition of our state, to be an independent leader that puts North Carolina first. And I hope he will. I hope he will. I am so proud of the race that we ran. I'm proud that all along we stayed true to our mission, that this race would be about the people and not politics. And even when others didn't, we believed in North Carolina. And I still do. This isn't the outcome that we wanted, but we have made history in North Carolina. And tonight I'm thinking of those who blazed trails before me so that I could reach this moment with you all here this evening. I'm thinking of my late mother, Lou Beasley, who showed me the importance of public service, of working for justice for all, and for standing for what's right. She was an amazing example and amazing woman. She knew the importance of staying the course and valuing the right to vote. My mother was granted the right to vote 57 years ago by the passage of the Voting Rights Act. And 57 years later, the work to make voting truly accessible continues. I'm thinking of my granddaddy Clarence and my grandmother Mimi, Rebecca, from Alabama, who married very young and searched for a better life for their family. With 76 cents in his pocket, Granddaddy Clarence hopped a train to Nashville, Tennessee, with dreams of a better future in his heart. He worked on the railroad all of his life, believing that for all of his sacrifice, his children and grandchildren would have it better. Granddaddy Clarence and Mimi believed firmly in the American dream. And despite the challenges they faced and the injustices they weathered, my grandparents worked hard to build a better future for their children and grandchildren. I am my grandparents' American dream. Regardless of the result, I remain resolved to fight for our beloved state. Because North Carolina is worth fighting for. And we are worth fighting for. Because our American dreams are worth pursuing. This election was never about the names on the ballot. It's about you, the people of this state, and your future. And after 2 decades as a judge and Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of North Carolina, I ran for the United States Senate for a simple reason. I love this state. But I've seen how Washington has failed people here. And over the last 19 months, I met North Carolinians in all 100 counties. You've shared with me your struggles, from jobs that don't pay the rent, to medication that costs too much, to loved ones who need health care but couldn't afford it, to small business owners who are the backbone of our economy and who need leaders with a backbone to do what's best for them. I've spoken with farmers who are paying way too much for fertilizer and for gas for farm equipment. I've heard from those who've been fearful of the threats to our democracy. And you've shared with me your hopes. Good schools for your children, regardless of your zip code, safe communities to live in, opportunities to prosper and thrive. I've seen time and again what I already knew. The people of our state are tough, resilient, and generous. And I heard from so many of you who wanted Washington to set aside the special interests and corporate donors and instead focus on helping our families nurturing our communities. But while Washington focuses on pointing fingers, the people of North Carolina have to point forward. Because I, like all of you, still believe in a future where our rights are protected and our freedoms fulfilled, where seniors can retire with dignity and prescription drugs don't break the bank, where people can work 1, not 2 or 3 jobs to support their families, and that you don't have to go to college to get that job, where your leaders work for you, not themselves and not their corporate donors and special interest groups, where an American dream is a possibility for tomorrow and for all of us, not just a story of the past for some. And while I am indeed disappointed, I am not defeated. No, no, you won't. While I certainly wish for a different outcome, I am not leaving the fight because the issues that I ran on are too important, and an election doesn't determine my voice or my continued commitment to fight for each and every one of you. Progress in this country has never been promised. It always takes time, and always in the face of injustice and adversity, we continue to fight. By taking up the fight, we always make progress. It is because of this that I stand before you as the first African American woman to be nominated to the United States Senate from North Carolina, and the first African American woman to serve as Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. This fight doesn't only make my dreams possible, it makes our dreams possible. And with unprecedented attacks on our rights and democracy hanging in the balance, we just cannot afford to give up the fight. So I thank each and every one of you for your hard work and your commitment for the last 2 years. I am so filled with gratitude and hope for having been in this fight alongside each and every one of you and all of you that came here this evening. I thank you so very much. The fight continues because progress will continue. Thank you all so very much, and may God bless North Carolina and this country.
You just listened to Cheri Beasley's concession speech. She was all smiles, dancing, very upbeat after a very hard race for 2 years. She thanked her supporters and volunteers. She congratulated Ted Budd by phone and said to him, encouraged him to be an independent leader. She said that she was proud of the race that she ran. She said, quote, not the outcome I wanted, but we made history, saying that she was her grandparents' American dream. As a first African-American woman to be nominated for a North Carolina Senate seat, she did say she is disappointed, but she is not defeated.
What a night it's been.
It really has been.
And what a morning, too.
12:22. Good morning, everyone. It's no longer election night. It's election morning.
Absolutely.
Well, that would be yesterday morning.
And we thank you for staying with us. Remember, you can get all of your election results on your phone. Just text the word results to 336-379-5775, and we will send you a link to our comprehensive coverage.
A lot of information on our website as well, WFMYnews2.com. Check it all out. We thank you so much for staying with us for this extended election coverage of 2022. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you later on
today.
Good night.
WFMY News 2 at 11 is brought to you by Cox Toyota in Burlington. Take a test drive and you could win $1,000. So before you buy, give Cox a try.